Recently, it's come to my attention that news and trivia about the next Pressure update is spread around quite sparingly, which has led to a lot of misinformation and misconceptions. Like every community, rumors are bound to happen, and when some people take it to their own fruition to spread things that are more likely speculation on their end, things tend to get muddled in the water. So the point of this video, with the help of some Pressure archivers, is to completely clear up rumors and lesser known things about the next update. And here's a disclaimer, most claims in this video will be based on screenshots and evidence gathered by the archivers, but as you all know, every game development team scraps, reworks, and remasters shown features all the time. So not every claim will be concrete up to the launch of the new update. Things are always prone to change. And without further ado, let's get into it with entities. Oh, where to start with this guy? Most people assume Abomination has been scrapped, which is untrue. The creature was only delayed for the post-launch update, and they never got around to adding it. Here's what we know about the creature right now. It will be a chase sequence in an underwater tunnel system seen on screen right now, where the player will use a machine that resembles an underwater scooter, like the Sea Glide from Subnautica, allowing the player to propel forwards at a faster pace in the water. We have gotten a screenshot of the newer version of the machine with a Navi console on it, hinting at some sort of navigation ability during the chase. Following this, there will be a trench bleeder section during the chase, which Zeal is very excited to show off. And that's everything we know about Abomination. Moving on. The corpse of Bell, whom I will be referring to as Bell from now on, is a deep sea diver who seems to have perished a while ago, giving room for algae and seaweed to take his corpse's place. All we know so far is that Bell has a gigantic seaweed-like arm that will most likely be used to attack the player. Emerging from holes in the wall, it will attempt to grab the player and bring them into the hole. Along with the entity, more flooded room types will be added. And that's everything we have for Bell. Moving on. As seen in the recent anniversary news, Pressure will be getting a grand encounter based on the identity fraud games. All 3 mazes will be added, alongside with the entities Stan, James, Alice, and the fraud. Bad news for your Ralph fans, because he's not in. There was a Morse code puzzle shown by Zeal, but without any sound proof that this is relating to the grand encounter, we cannot say for sure it's related. But we can say for certain there was a Morse code puzzle in identity fraud. This is the entity that we know the least about, and if you want a more speculative theory about how this grand encounter will act, check out Dino Desmond's video. He'll be going over the same talking points I am, except his video will be more speculative and have more theories. The link will be in the description. There was much spread information that his name was actually the Crooked Man, but Zeal has only referred to him as the Crooked. All we know about this one is that he's a funny little beret and is described as intelligent. A lot of people think that due to his beret, the old Urban Shade logo still exists, which is not the case. They just haven't updated the logo on his beret yet. It will be accompanied by a grand encounter that will be more horror focused than the other encounters. And that's everything we know about the Crooked. Moving on, I'm going to lump in the next 2 entities because we don't know that much about them, but there's enough to talk about them. The Upper Class Coffin has been planned to release with Abomination, so it'll most likely be in the next update. The entity will charge at you in a straight line and try to trap you inside its interior, like an Iron Maiden. And as for the Sweeping Angels, they're glorified Roombas, basically, that will go around the black site sweeping the floors when the player isn't looking at them. And that is everything we know. Moving on. And lumping in with these 2, I will be talking about Slenderman. This is an entity that was modeled and animated before the Graveyard was even released. Its real name is unknown at this time, but most of the devs call it Slenderman, and it will most likely be a grand encounter that works like the original Slenderman game. And with this concludes our entities section. And now we'll be moving on to room types and grand encounters. There will be more ending encounters in the future, and determined by the grand encounters you experience during the game, the ending encounter might be different. Although not every grand encounter will have a ending encounter. Every ending encounter will end the same, with the player entering the submarine and leaving the black site. For what we know now, the only ending encounter that we have is the Searchlights, which will be getting a complete rework in the next update. The confirmed grand encounters at the moment are Identity Fraud, Abomination, Searchlights, Slenderman, and the Crooked, possibly more to come. The flesh mines will take place inside a giant deceased eel, being mined for flesh for unknown reasons at this time, because why not, it's the black site. There will be a harsh terrain and plenty of blood and guts strewn around. We'll enter through the head of the eel that seems to be poking through a rock, and we'll find our way through its interior to a side opening that we'll be able to leave through. I'm pretty excited for this one. It's pretty insane. The quarters is a new room type that will be where the employees live and relax when not working. It's been stated that this area will be more pretty and lavish than the other gritty areas in the game. From what we've seen so far, there is many layouts to this room type. In this room type, lockers will only spawn inside rooms. The labs is a fourth new room type coming up in the next update. There appears to be beds in each corner of the room where subjects are tested on. Each of these living quarters are equipped with a turret in the ceiling. This room type is very reminiscent of the SCP Foundation, which Pressure is highly inspired by. And also, if you brighten up the image, on the left side you can see the Watcher, which is probably just an Easter egg that Mythia decided to put in. And with this section done, let's move on to items and miscellaneous. The defibrillator is an item that can revive your dead teammates as long as their body is still accessible and has not despawned. This will make revives available during badge runs, causing your runs to not be disqualified. The item scanner is an item that can scan the room you're in for research, keycards, and items. It was stated that this item was originally made by Sebastian before he knew his own strength and could destroy doors. So, I'm not actually sure how this went down, but Zeal got permission from Mullins, the creator of Inscryption, to have a skin bundle based on the game. To clear the air about this one, there is no collaboration of any kind with the Steam game Inscryption. It's just a crossover skin bundle for Pressure. I don't know how this one got so, confusing. It shouldn't have been. Anyways, let's move on. We will now be given the opportunity to destroy Painter, resulting in different game interactions. For more info on this one, check out Dino Desmond's video on this for more speculative ideas on what this could mean for the game. As for concrete evidence, destroying Painter will cause Good People, Sentry, and Gauntlets from happening. This section is where things get super murky due to misinformation, so follow along. People saw a tweet from Zeal that showed a scrapped interaction with Sebastian from Evil Mode. People saw this and thought it was a feature after destroying Painter, which is not the case. No one knows how Sebastian will react to Painter's death yet, and that's all we know. Now, these next screenshots are really old, but if we are to believe these are still fact, Endless Mode will be getting an introductory cutscene, showing why canonically we are in Endless Mode. The cutscene will begin where the submarine is attacked by a creature and causes the ship to crash into the black site. HQ decides you are basically a lost cause and abandons you, so I guess that's fun. Here's where things tend to get murky again. Put on your tinfoil hats because I'm not even sure which is true. You might have noticed the last screenshot I showed off was actually cut off because Zeal went on to talk about an interaction with Sebastian you would have during Endless, where at door 20 you would come across Sebastian scavenging for items. He would then give you a singular pity item and then be on his way. The only reason I'm adding this section is because it's coming from Zeal himself, although the screenshots are years old, so who knows if this is still the case. Take this with a grain of salt. And that wraps up about every known fact about the next update. Zeal has stated this one would be huge, even more bigger than 4.5. And a huge thank you to everyone who worked on the board that I got all my facts and screenshots from. This video wouldn't be possible without them. And a quick note, make sure to only get your information from sources you can trust. Stick to Zeal and the dev team's Twitter and the Urban Shade Discord. There are some people out there that really like to push their headcanons and really like to mess with narratives. Stay vigilant and don't become someone who spreads misinformation. Thank you. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.